Good morning, and thank you for joining us today for a live talk with the three engineers. We're pleased to welcome Nick and Matt today, and it's really great to see so many schools joining us today. Sorry we've kept you a couple of minutes, but yeah, we're raring to go. So we've got lots of schools up here. I'll just mention a couple because we need to get on. Wygate Park in Lincolnshire. We've got Harlan School, Uckfield, King's Hedges Educational Federation, Arundel, C of E. So as you can tell, lots and lots of you there. So thank you very much for joining us. And today you will hear how the three engineers use their engaging rhyming books to raise awareness of environmental issues and inspire the next generation. That's you. To take small positive action to better the world that we all live in. Nick and Matt will we'll talk about sustainability and engineering, and they will read from their first amazing book in the series, The Adventures of a Scout, titled Stop Dropping Litter. The talk will be followed by an interactive Q&A session, so get your questions ready, put them in the chat, and the guys will aim to answer as many as they can at the end of their talk. You can also email us any questions post-event to askAnambassador, and we'll put that in the chat for you. So that's enough from me. I will hand you over to Matt, who's going to kick off this morning. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning and welcome everyone. Thank you for all turning up. It's great. Right, so yeah, I'm from the Three Engineers, and as is Nick, who you'll meet in a minute. And today, as Lisa said, we're here and we're going to talk to you a little bit about sustainability, engineering, which is our day jobs, and read our story, Stop Dropping Litter. But first of all, we've got a short video that just tells you a little bit about what the three engineers do.
What do you get when you have a planet addicted to plastic? Mix in rising sea levels and a pinch of deforestation. A pretty big problem, we think. But add in three engineers who want to make change. And surprisingly, the outcome isn't a spaceship or a time machine, but rather a project with a mission to engage children around the globe to help protect our natural world. So, what are they doing? The three engineers have come together and designed a set of fun rhyming children's books named The Adventures of Scout. The aim of these books is to encourage readers to plant seeds to feed the bees, to pick up plastic, and to recycle household waste to help animals in our local habitats. Their mission is to spread Scout's message far and wide, providing material for children to use both at home and in their schools. So, what are you waiting for? Join Scout's team and help save the planet. Together, we can make small changes to better the world. Go onto the Three Engineers website and check out their free audio children's books. You can also follow them on social media platforms as they share their journey to publish the books.
From a company called The Three Engineers, and yeah, we're on a mission to teach young children how to look after our planet and how to take positive action to be able to better the world, basically. And we're doing that through writing a set of children's books that teach you all about different problems. So I'll hand over to Nick. He'll tell you a little bit about himself, and then I'll give myself a bit of a better introduction.
Thanks, Matt. Hello, everybody. It's great to see so many of you. My name's Nick, and I'm one of the three engineers. I've got a young daughter, and I'm an electrical engineer, and I've got a fascination with origami. So I like folding up paper and making little animals and dinosaurs. When I said I'm an electrical engineer, this is a branch of engineering that deals with electricity, from designing lighting and power circuits in your homes and schools to complex projects such as power stations and submarines. I'll pass you back to Matt.
Thanks, Nick. So for me, I've got two children. I've got a 6-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter. So maybe same age as some of you on the call. And I'm a systems engineer. And a systems engineer is an engineer that looks at complex problems with other types of engineer. So we help develop systems that are really complicated, like space shuttles or submarines or power stations. Also, given half the chance, I'll eat cheesecake till I explode. I absolutely love cheesecake. I think my favorite is blueberry, closely followed by Oreo. But yeah, love the stuff. So we are here to talk about engineering and sustainability. So Nick is going to, first of all, tell you a little bit about what sustainability is.
Thanks, Matt. So yeah, what is sustainability? Well, all life on Earth depends on the environment, and sustainability is ensuring there will be enough resources such as food, water and materials left for our families without permanently damaging our natural world. So why is that important? Well, you've all seen and maybe heard about some of the local climate change issues that we have, and we basically need to ensure that resources are available such that we don't impact that local climate. So let me tell you a bit more about how we can be a bit more sustainable with engineering. Matt, would you like to move on?
Yeah. So what is engineering? Well, engineers are people whose job it is to solve problems, basically. And we do this by applying science and maths to be able to invent, design and build gadgets and materials to fulfill specific needs. So how can engineers then help with being more sustainable? I've got a few examples here of things that engineers have helped design and built to use technology to help the environment.
I think you're stuck on the same slide, Matt.
No, I've moved on, Nick. Thanks. So let's go over a couple of examples. So wind turbines and solar panels. You've probably seen all of these before, okay? So they basically use natural energy from the sun or the wind to create electricity. And we do that, and it's called renewable energy. And it's a way of getting electricity from natural resources that aren't depletable. The next couple of examples are a bit different. So here we've got electric cars and LED lights. And this is where engineers like Nick, electrical engineers, use technology to be able to better improve the impact that different products have on the environment. So electric cars, for example, use battery power rather than combustion engines and don't produce carbon dioxide as they're operating. And then LED lights are a different way of producing light from an electrical component rather than a filament bulb, and they use loads less energy than normal light bulbs.
Matt,
so
before we move on, sorry to interrupt, Matt. I think we're stuck on the sustainability slide. So would you mind just trying to refresh, please?
Yes.
Thanks.
So moving on then, the last two examples. These are a bit strange, a bit more strange than the other ones. You definitely have seen the other ones, but these are slightly different. So in the bottom right, we have a tidal turbine. And you don't normally see these because they're normally under the water. And what they do is they harness the energy of tidal rivers to be able to produce electricity. And they do that by spinning the big propeller in the middle as the tide moves in and out. And they can produce a huge amount of electricity. Up in the top left, we've got something called the interceptor. And that is a barge that's designed to collect rubbish from the most polluted rivers in the world, and it runs on solar energy. So that one's linked to our story at the minute, and how rubbish can get from, if you drop it in the street, how it can get into the waterways and out into the ocean and wash up on the beaches. So that's just a few examples of how engineers can help with designing things to be more sustainable. I'll pass over to Nick now to tell you a bit about our project and listen to our story.
Thanks, Matt. There's some really cool projects out there, aren't there? So yeah, what we've done, the 3Engineers, is we've kind of used our engineering skills to come up with and design a set of children's books with the aim to motivate children to play a positive role in protecting our natural world. And as I said, we've written some stories, and our first book in the Adventures of Scout series is called Stop Dropping Litter. So why don't we have a little listen to it and see if you can spot Vinny, her Scout's best friend, on every page.
Hello, my name's Nick and I'm a member of the 3Engineers team, and I'm about to read you our first book, Stop Dropping Litter. This is a story about a girl named Scout who loves nothing more than to figure things out. Scout lives with her mum, her dad and their dog, and her best friend Vinny, the poison dart frog. One day when she'd dressed and had tied up her shoes, Scout asked her mum what she'd read in the news. "You'll never guess what," she stated theatrically. "Beaches are covered in rubbish. What a catastrophe!" So Scout ran back upstairs to sit on her bed, where she thought long and hard about what was just said. "Emergency meeting," cried out Scout. "Where's the rubbish coming from? Let's figure this out." "I know. I'll pack a bag, a bucket, a spade and my litter pickers to help clean up the beach just that little bit quicker." Scout jumped on her bike and sped off with haste to see for herself the extent of the waste. Scout arrived at the beach and wandered down to the shore, where a pot scuttled past with an extremely large claw. Scout knocked on the pot with a tap, 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 and out came a crab with a snap, snap, snap. "Hey there, crab, why the yoghurt pot? Isn't it sticky? Isn't it hot?" "Indeed it is," the crab replied. "What else do you suggest? I live inside." So Scout dug with her spade and unearthed a large shell. "Perfect," said the crab. "There's no longer that smell." Huh. "Thank you, little girl. What brings you here?" "To help clean up this rubbish. Is the source near?" "Well, I found this pot washed up on the shore. Follow my tracks, go forth and explore." "Thank you, crab." So off Scout went. Down at the shore, Scout paddled her feet, then heard a strange noise with a panicking beat. Vroo, vroo, vroo. Scout parted some rubbish, revealing a whale with a kazoo trapped in its blowhole and waving its tail. Scout removed the kazoo and the whale breathed with delight, then gave a big smile all pearly and white. "Thank you, little girl. What brings you here?" "To help clean up this rubbish. Is the source near?" "Well, it floats in with the tide, and it's one of my gripes. If you look down the beach, it comes out of two pipes." "Thank you, whale." So off Scout went. Further down the beach, amongst piles of clutter, Scout bumped into a turtle who was all of a flutter. "Please give me a hand," the turtle said. "I'm trapped in this shirt, it's stuck over my head." Scout used her pickers to set the turtle free. Thrashing and splashing, it shouted, "Yippee!" "Thank you, little girl. What brings you here?" "To help clean up this rubbish. Is the source near?" "Well, a ghost sold me this shirt from his second-hand shop. He's down by that pier, but perhaps he should stop." "Thank you, turtle." So off Scout went. Perched on a pipe and looking quite dodgy, Scout spotted a seagull all round and podgy. Come by my ways, the bird squawked out. Fancy a bendy straw or used Brussels sprout? How about a brush for styling your hair? Or sachets of lotion used for your skincare? What are you doing? Scout asked the wily bird. This waste is polluting. Please tell me you've heard. A turtle has told me that you sold him a shirt. Did you know it was plastic and that it could hurt? The seagull was sorry and felt very ashamed. The waste comes from town, he later explained. The Scout sat on a rock and collected her thoughts, then concocted a plan using things that she'd brought. I've got it. I'll ask my new friends to help me clean up and cover that pipe to cheer everyone up. Then I'll tell people in town to stop dropping litter, which gets to the sea through these pipes from the river. Scout gathered the animals and explained what to do. Then they all set to work like a recycling zoo. The whale flicked waste to shore with its fins. Crabs formed long lines passing rubbish to the bins. Seagull and turtle constructed a net with seaweed collected from a seal they'd just met. The beach was now safe and the teamwork was fun. Scout was delighted with the work they had done.
Well, I hope you had fun trying to find Vinny, and the problem in the book was clear. You know, and maybe you feel inspired now to help Scout out by stop dropping litter and putting it in the bin. So, conscious of time and the fact that we love to take questions from you guys, we're going to go through the next few slides quite quickly. So, how can you take action as a school? Well, our project have partnered with Helping Hands, and you guys can enter a competition. And if you do a litter pick, so let's move to the next one. We'll tell you all about it. So what's up for grabs? Your school could earn or basically receive 10 litter pickers and a handicart duo if you enter our competition. And how do you do that? So if you go, we'll give you the link after this presentation, but if you go on through the link on the3engineers.com//competition, you can use the resource sheet and do your own school litter pick and tally up and weigh up the rubbish you collect and submit it to us for a chance to win, which is a great prize. And then a little bit more for your schools, we have other things that you guys can do. So we've got a whole bunch of resource sheets. You can watch our audiobooks or our videos on YouTube, and you could follow us on our Instagram to kind of see how all the artwork comes together in our journey. And moving on, we've got obviously 2 books out now. So we've got our first book out, which is The Adventures of Scout, Stop Dropping Litter, and our second book that is just newly out called The Missing Bees, which is a great book. So that's perfect for spring. So make sure you look out for us in the future, especially around springtime when we do some more virtual talks. That brings it to a close.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. So that's our little project and one of our stories. So hopefully that's been informative for you guys. You've learned a little bit about engineering, a little bit about sustainability, and enjoyed our story and really got the message and are going to take your own action. So now I think it's a great time, Lisa, to move on to questions if you've got any in the chat.
Yes, it most certainly is. Can I just apologise again for any technical issues that we received this morning? It's live, so there you go. But it was a great chat. So thank you very much, Nick and Matt. And we can see in the chat our audience has been inspired by what they've heard today. As many interesting questions are coming in. So I'll actually hand you over to my colleague James to kick those off.
Yes, so the first one we've got is asking, is a third engineer with you today?
Good question. Well, no, there isn't. There's just myself and Matt, so that's 2. But actually, John, who wrote the book with us, is actually having a newborn child, so he's not available, unfortunately. So we're kind of subbing in for him.
Thank you. Harlan School from Uckfield, Year 3, want to know, how can we stop people just chucking litter instead of putting it in the bin?
So I'll take this one, Nick. So basically, it starts with you guys. We need to not be afraid to tell people if we see them dropping litter that it's a bad thing to do. And one of the things that helps with that is not being mean about it, is just being nice about it, being kind to them, and teaching them the reason why it's a bad idea. And that's the part of the reason of our book, because it sort of shows how even if you live in an inner city and you drop like sweet wrappers on the floor and things, they very easily make their way into the waterways and wash up on beaches all over the country and all over the world. Actually, rubbish can like travel all over the world using the seas and the oceans. So yeah, just be kind to people and point it out, and speak to your family and friends about it too.
Thank you. The next one is Staple Morden Primary, and they asked, did you base the pictures on a real location?
Oh, that's a good one. I'll take that, Matt. We actually, because obviously it's a blank canvas when you start designing and drawing and writing and being creative. And yes, we took lots of inspiration in our books around different things in our lives. I think in our second book, we've got sort of references to sort of personal touches. I think in this book, Matt, was there a kind of a lighthouse that was near you where you lived?
Yeah. So I'm from Cornwall originally, so plenty of beaches down there, and so yeah, some of the bits in the landscape you can see in the pictures are from parts in Cornwall. That one of them is based on the Gribben down in Foy on the south coast of Cornwall, and we've also got where we're based in Bristol, and you can see when the seagulls flying over the town, some of the landmarks from Bristol there, like the suspension bridge and the observatory up on the hill.
And my old school as well.
Oh yeah.
It was fun to get some little touches like that in it.
Thank you. And the next one is from Sophie, and she wants to know, which book do you like best and why?
I'll go first. So I personally like the first book, Stop Dropping Litter, just because we spent so much time putting our attention into the detail, and it was the first time we saw the illustrations that our illustrator did, and it was just amazing. I'll hand over to Nick and he can give you his opinion.
Yeah, I think it's the second book. Obviously, we've got there's almost 830,000 brushstrokes in our second book, and I think our first book has got over 500,000. And when we give these ideas to our illustrator, she basically comes up with some really cool sketches and then disappears for 3 weeks while she's got all the notes that she has, and she just comes back with these incredible illustrations and videos. And it's really fascinating watching her process and the layers that she creates and how every single detail is mapped out. And in our second book, we've got an arcade, so the bees are missing and they're basically up in the arcade play. And I find that really fun because we've made lots of fun references to in the arcade games to kind of childhood things that we would play on.
Thanks, Nick, and thanks, James. I will just ask a couple of questions because I've realised we've probably got about 5 minutes to go. But here's a really lovely question from Keep Patch Primary, the Year 3s. What inspired you to start the 3Engineers books, the 3Engineers and the books?
Shall I take on that?
Yeah, I can take that one. So basically, Nick, John and I all worked for the same engineering company designing submarines. At the time, it was about just over 4 years ago now, and we had Friday afternoons off. We could flex our time. We had Friday afternoons off, and we decided to just do a bit more something with our time that actually gave back to the community a little bit. So I set up 5 workshops and we sat down and figured out the ideas, and we decided to write children's stories, and it just sort of took off from there, really. We didn't know how to write children's stories, so being engineers, we researched it and designed it and wrote requirements, and yeah, that's how it started, and we really love it.
That's lovely to hear. And pre that, so what actually inspired you to become engineers?
That's a really good question. I think everyone who's an engineer has a very different story to answer for this question. So I didn't know I wanted to be an engineer, if that's the right thing to say. I went to college, and then after college I became an electrician, and then from there I went to university, and I found my first ever interview at a company that basically designed submarines, and I managed to get it, luckily. So I didn't really know that was the route I wanted to take, but actually I absolutely love problem solving, and I love being able to work with a load of other types of engineers to solve problems. So I've really enjoyed what I do.
That's great, thank you. Mrs. Hull would like to know who actually drew the pictures in the books.
So our illustrator is a lady, I've got to pronounce her name right, Anne Barach-Livy, sorry. Very poor. But she's from Georgia in Eastern Europe. We've never spoken to her. She doesn't speak English, so Nick does a fantastic job conversing with her over Facebook Messenger, actually. And all of our illustrations that we sort of design the pictures and do really bad pencil sketches and then pass them over to her, and then Nick has a conversation over Facebook Messenger with her, and she comes up with these amazing images. So yeah, she works a long way away from us, completely remote, but she's part of the team as well. She's been with us since the beginning, really.
And they certainly look amazing. They really do. And many people have actually asked how can they purchase the book. So we'll ensure that we'll put some information post-event about that. And here's a really interesting question. What subjects did you enjoy at primary school, which then obviously furthered your career to become an engineer? That's from Foxton Primary School.
I'll take this one. So actually, that's one of the big passions of the project, is that we all agreed that when we didn't really know what our subjects did when we were kind of going through schools. We didn't know kind of what that would lead to. So I think Matt is saying with myself is that we kind of really like sport and really like geography as well. But again, none of that kind of leads into kind of what engineers do, which is more maths and science focused and English. So yeah, one of the main aspects of the project is to try and give children a bit more knowledge about what engineers do and STEM subjects in particular, so that you guys can kind of understand what an engineer is and what a scientist does and the kinds of things that you would do to go forward into that career.
Thank you very much, Nick. I am sorry to everyone, but we've actually come to the end of our talk. There are just so many interesting questions in the chat, and we are sorry if we didn't reach you. But the guys work with us on a regular basis, and so hopefully you can join another call, another talk, but we will give you all the information about their website, the book, and how you can find out more about the 3 Engineers. So once again, thank you, Nick and Matt, for joining us today. We know you're busy, but we also know how dedicated you are to educate young people about engineering and environmental issues. So thank you very much, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.